All right, everybody, welcome back to this episode of Game Life Chronicles. All right, so today's episode is a big one, okay? We're going to explore a bunch of different things because our guest today is multifaceted, okay? We're going to take a short look at, casual gaming versus competitive gaming. We're going to touch about gaming and as a parent. We're going to touch on how gaming can offer a lifeline to some youth. And, we're going to just take a small look at how people start streaming and why in this packed feel, right? And to do that, our guest today is Chill. And Chill is going to try and bring his unique perspective to the conversations today. Chill, how are you?
Hey, Spark, all is well.
All right. Now, so every time I get started, one of the first things I want to do is get a background of like, how did you get into gaming? Where did you start? And how did you make it to where you are now?
I got into gaming as a young person. My father had many of the old systems, the Atari, the 2600, the very first Sega. Um, and then I remember my uncle had purchased a Super Nintendo, so it became a Nintendo household.
Mm,
And then from there, it just kept going. I moved on to PlayStation 1, 2, and then I moved over to Xbox 360. And now I'm an Xbox Series S person.
never PlayStation, just Xbox?
PlayStation had my heart many years ago.
Why that switch? Why did switch from PlayStation to Xbox?
It was the controller initially. When the
Ah,
360 controller dropped and those triggers, it just felt smoother.
okay.
Whereas the PlayStation controller felt, like what I was used to with two clunky ones, two clunky buttons. Wasn't interested in
All right, I get you. I guess it's a preference thing. I'm definitely PlayStation. Okay, so just talking about that, right? We're gonna start talking about the conversation casual versus elite gamer. There's always like a bunch of debates, especially when you're thinking about like streamers and you're thinking about people playing Fortnite and all these stuff, right? How do you define a casual gamer versus an elite or competitive gamer?
So I would say a casual gamer is defined by several things. One is they get on a game for likely enjoyment, um, trying to satisfy something, maybe catch a few achievements. But the enjoyment factor is like usually number one. Um, it's not a competitive race for them. Um, Also, somebody who may be casual is also a person who may not have as much time to invest um, hours on hours on hours to reach the pinnacle of whatever that game is offering. Um, but when you get to an elite person, well, they're going to have that time typically to invest hours on hours to understand every nook and cranny of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they usually set out to be the top of the echelon, whether that be multiplayer, whether that be every achievement, whether that be somebody who can put out guides or tips and tricks for others to follow. They are usually top tier.
Okay. So for you, how do you define yourself?
I define myself as a super casual,
Super casual.
somebody who may not have as much time, but definitely care about being a top tier of whatever game I'm running. Somebody who cares about achievements, um, and someone who I just I just want to know I still got it.
Okay.
Um,
And like, have you ever felt the pressure of trying, or have you ever felt pressured to try to like level up your skills or take gaming more seriously?
um, always always feel the pressure of staying relevant. Um, there's there's a new game, and sometimes, unfortunately, our market there is the same game every year that keeps re-releasing with small updates or small changes, and so there's always the pressure to understand whatever new mechanics is out. Um, and so there is a lot of pressure because if you're not relevant, if you're not, um, if you want to be important and you're not on top of your game, well, people won't be looking at you. They won't be looking for you. Um, and you may find yourself getting left behind.
Do you have games that you consider more competitive than other games? Like, what are you playing right now that you think is more pressure than others?
The release of Black Ops 6 has
Oh yeah,
a lot of energy right now.
yeah.
Um, I'm a Destiny 2 main as well. And there's something like Trials of Osiris, there's Comp, there's regular multiplayer PvP. It's a little bit of a sweatbox. Fortnite is definitely
Mhm.
a sweatbox. Overwatch is definitely a sweatbox. Those right there, I think, are like top sweats right now, um, in terms of like PvP, and in terms of like, yeah, you won't. I don't know if you want to be a casual player trying to step in some of their most, challenging mode, rank matches,
Mhm.
whatever their most like PvP sweat mode is. For Destiny, that's Trials of Osiris. That's frustration waiting for an average individual. Um,
After work frustration.
oh yes, that enjoyment that you're seeking, you will not find it.
That is not the time to
It's
relax.
not the time. It's not the
And so,
time.
what are the pros and cons are you seeing from like gaming casually versus gaming competitively?
It feels like, and this is something that I hear or also that I read, is that elite gamers, streamers have set the pace for some of the development of games now, because of the feedback, because of the videos, because of
Mhm.
tips and tricks. It feels as though gaming developers have somewhat catered to that market, um, trying to keep that market happy. And then what happens is the casual person kind of find themselves either mimicking what elites are doing, um, or they're just getting the bare minimum out of a game, unfortunately.
Yeah. I could see that because like a lot of streamers are the ones who are the loudest and the most out there. So like if anything ever comes up, like
They're
calling
on
for
it.
nerfing something, yeah, they're on it.
Mm-hmm. Something's too strong. Well, 2 weeks later, it's
It's
not that
done.
strong. um, there's a certain sandbox, there's a certain meta, certain guns are just, it's it right now. Well, then you find out a week later those guns are no longer it. So, and that's the feedback for a person who's just trying to get over enjoyment. It's like, hey, I'm just stepping in, and you guys already sweated out the sandbox, and now there's something else. I gotta get used to that. It's like, I hear what they're saying.
Okay. So and so that brings us to the other point, right? Like you're a casual gamer, you're working full time, you're a parent, and so being a parent and trying to game, it adds another layer to that balancing act, right? So how do you manage gaming and doing these hobby things while still handling family
It is extremely tough.
life?
Um, I would dare to say it's a sacrifice. Um, my gaming is down to a schedule, and it is pretty much Friday through Sunday afternoon. Monday through Thursday, I don't even touch the sticks, because responsibilities trump any hobbies right now. Especially, I have young children.
Hmm.
I have a 2-year old, I have a 9-year old. They require their father, um, and so where me and my partner is able to meet is on the weekends. She steps in, and I usually wait until the children go to sleep, and so it puts me at a disadvantage, in terms of like playing throughout the day. I find I like to stream,
Hmm.
but audiences are not looking for a streamer at 12 a.m.
Is it?
Right? It's
That's a fact.
And so I know I'm missing a market, and I'm okay with that. Right now, as I have, um, some other priorities at the moment. But when my children do get a little bit older, I am looking forward to changing that schedule around. But it is extremely difficult. But my sacrifice is sleep. I,
I understand that completely. Like even when I'm doing like now we're taping this and we're taping this after all kids are asleep, right?
that's right.
Like we have to adjust the schedule around those responsibilities.
And their schedule is there. Like, they will still be up at a certain time, no matter if I go to sleep or
Yeah.
not. So I make the sacrifice of, on certain days, I will stay up a little bit later to still fulfill my enjoyment, and to keep myself relevant and keep myself afloat of what's going on in the games that I run.
Right. And that sort of schedule sort of like ensures that you remain a casual person, right?
Yes.
Because like there's no way that at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. you're getting on to like grind any game to the full extent of someone who's been on since 9 a.m. in the morning.
And some of our looter shooters, that's the ones that have repetitive rewards every week that you have to grind for. The folks that I run with, they've been grinding from Monday, and so when
Hmm.
I get on Friday,
It's all
I
done.
so they already done everything, and so it feels unfair sometimes to even ask them to, hey, come run with me as I am now trying to catch up and do everything that you've done.
Hmm.
Um, so even the regular stuff still feels like a grind because everybody has done it Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect me. I'm still going to run, um, but it can be challenging.
Yeah, definitely so. Do you involve your kids in gaming, or do
I
you keep it
do
as a personal outlet?
certain games. My oldest is now starting to get into. Her first favorite is Minecraft Dungeons. Well, it's not the typical Minecraft. It is more of a beat 'em up Minecraft,
Yeah.
and you can have 4 players with it. And she, my partner, and I, uh, we would do our we do our thing. And she played the role of healer, and I played the role of getting there and swing that axe. And my partner played the role of archer, and it was extremely fun. And now she occasionally plays a couple of games. She is currently running Little Nightmares,
Oh, that's a
and
cute game.
I don't really manage. I just make sure that if she needs help, I'm here. But she enjoys having my presence while she's playing.
That's really
She's
cool.
she's scheduled in tomorrow.
I love that she's on the schedule. Hmm. That's what's up.
Yes,
So, and for gaming, right? Like, have you learned anything from gaming that then translates into parenting skills? Because you've been gaming for a long time. You've been gaming since
yes,
you were a kid.
yeah. Um, Patience is a big one. Um, Learning to lose, shifting expectations.
Hmm.
Parenting comes with many different challenges, revelations about yourself, and so sometimes gaming is also, as it is an outlet, it's also something that I can look forward to, so that I never have too much of a frustration with my children.
Hmm.
But it's something that's also a bring together thing. Um, and while I only do it at certain times, whenever there's an opportunity to include family, it is an inclusion tool as well. Um, but I think patience have been one of the biggest things. And in my younger youth, when I used to consider myself a hardcore gamer,
Yeah.
when I wanted every achievement, when I wanted, I think about Devil May Cry back in the day, how
Oh
difficult that
my
game
word.
was, and trying to play on Dante can't die more, or Dante must not die, and one hit would take you out, so you had to be flawless. And beating the game, it was just a persistence, a
Yeah.
resilience, a patience. Um, Patting yourself on the back, you got this. Small steps, and these things I transfer over to my child, and how I also sometimes coach her. My oldest, who's in school, it's like, look to small goals. You have lofty ambitions, but have small, attainable steps to get you there. Don't be defeated after one loss. You have to keep going. You have to keep trying.
Hmm.
Try a different approach, which is really, in gaming, sometimes when you come across a very hard, difficult boss, the same strategy is not working. You have to try something else.
I'm telling you,
Um,
you've seen me
and
play
oh yeah,
uh
yeah. What's that?
Black Myth.
Wukong.
Yeah, Black Myth.
That I don't know if I could do it right now.
Oh my word, an hour on one boss, just that's patience.
That's patience. That's patience, and you can't lose those things. But in that hour, you're trying different things. You becoming flexible. You
Hmm.
adapting. These are still things that's important when you are raising children.
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, so you're raising your own kids, and I know that you have some experience working with other kids. So let's shift gears and talk about gaming as a tool for young people, right? Like,
Yes,
do you think that gaming has the potential to change lives in this space?
I do. I feel like it's something that saved me. I think it changed my life. It kept me from looking um, outside into the streets for entertainment, for fun. And now, being that games are no longer just couch couch to couch playing, now you have a online space where you can connect with people from all over the world. It allows you to find communities that either resemble you or you feel like you belong to, and doing that while enjoying something safely. It keeps you out of physical harm generally. With certain lobbies and certain games, emotionally, I can't tell you it's going to protect you. Um, but as long as you're in a network of people who want to have you there, and people who look forward to you, and y'all share this time together, it is something that I really think young people have already started looking to. I mean, there are plenty of young folks who look to streamers who, when I first heard this, like you watching people play games over you playing a game, I was like, what is this nonsense? Back when it first started happening,
I'm
I
not
couldn't, I
gonna
couldn't,
lie, I was the
couldn't
same
understand it.
way. I was like, what is going on?
Why would you do that? But you know what? In those lobbies where there's other folks who are also watching and chatting, you start to find a new family. This online family, this virtual family, and then it has the potential to grow from there to something more, where maybe in the future you become really lifelong friends. And so I really do think this has the potential to be a great outlet. And I know it's something that's scary for a lot of families as you watch a young person watch a screen
Hmm.
for many hours. Sometimes the games they play, you feel like they may be violent. Um, but sometimes that shifting of perspective of my child is not in the street, my child is doing something that they're enjoying, I'm listening and they're speaking with other folks who, want them there and care for them. you know, it, I think it has some good deeds that it can sow for a lot of young folks.
I agree with that. I think I had the same perspective when it came to the whole streaming aspect way back when, and I couldn't figure out like why are we just watching somebody else play games? And it's sort of the same thing as like watching a football game, right? Like you're watching
Yes,
somebody
yes.
play a game. It's the
Mm,
same perspective, just like something that we hadn't been accustomed
mm,
to watching before, right? This the whole esports blow up is still
mhm.
pretty recent.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of understanding around like what that can do for young folks and what opportunities is out there for them.
I think the difference between, the sports games versus some of the fantasies, shoot 'em or beat them ups or what have you, is I always said, like, you could pick up the controller yourself and play
Yeah.
this game. Like, why are you watching this person? It's not like the sports where you may not be, football inclined. So you have to watch. You pick up that control. So I couldn't get with it at first. I was like,
Hmm.
"What's up with these folks?" Then I happened to start losing time myself, and then found myself watching folks play games to save me time. To watch a streamer who's going through things. Well, oh, I got to do this week. Oh, I gotta do this to get this weapon. Or I gotta go this way to get this armor. It just became like something I also started doing. So it changed my perspective altogether. I now became the person who's occasionally watching somebody play a game to doing that which I was very critical of.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting shift in perspective, but a good one because you're right. There is opportunity to build community within the streaming community,
Yes.
within watching these streamers and, just be part of those communities. Are there any specific games or platforms that you think are particularly effective for this, like helping young folks find, the building the confidence or finding a sense of belonging?
Um, I think anything with cooperative multiplayer has that potential. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of the games I grew up playing had a lot of mature ratings.
Hmm.
Um, I do think about Gears of War.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's very graphic. But it was like you had a team with you. You had three people. Your goal was to keep each other alive by fighting off aliens. I think about Resistance on PlayStation. Um, I do think about Fortnite. I do think about Overwatch. COD was my bringing too, and it's where I'm talking like COD Classic, 2007, 2008. We on Modern Warfare, and I'm still friends with those individuals who I was running with not many years ago. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think anything with a multiplayer, cooperative element, is something good. Um, so, all the games I named previously, they all have a co-op sense to it. And just keep going from there. Something else that I'm looking at, again, I play too many mature rating games, but Remnant is another one that I'm just thinking about. Um, it's you guys are looking out for each other um, while you're running through and experiencing this these games.
That's true. But and so that's a lot of the positive side. What do you have to say about like there's a lot of talk about these lobbies, right? Like
Yes,
the negativity in the lobbies, and you see a lot of these videos where there's a lot of like negative talk coming out of these lobbies.
yes, it does exist. I don't want to sugarcoat it. There are, unfortunately, you might come across some racism in the lobby. You may come across ageism in the lobby. Um, just because of the way you sound, somebody may
Hmm.
say, "Oh, no, you sound like a 50-year-old man." I'm just like, a young guy man. Or you have a very sweet sounding young youthful voice, and they're like, "Oh, you got a baby in here." Who's this? Who's this squeaker? And they use all these kind of terrible
Squeaker.
names.
Let a
Uh,
woman jump in the lobby?
yeah. Oh, and then you get who's the sexy woman. They becomes kind of sometimes sexist and sexual, unfortunately. So
Hmm.
they do exist. And I think it's up to individuals sometimes when you encounter that to understand that you can back out of that. Right? These Your attendance in a lobby is very like volunteerish. You put yourself in a lobby as well as you could easily take yourself out of one. So you find yourself coming into a game where you load in and everybody is there is toxic. You please take yourself out
Yeah.
and hit that matchmaking, and you'll find yourself very much in another lobby. Hopefully, a lot more positive.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's also one of the struggles that some parents have with allowing their kids to play games and participate in these communities, right? Like there's never any real guarantee that they won't be met with a lot of negativity. I think that's like there's importance in finding like the community, like the family friendly tags and using
Yes,
those things that allow for those safe spaces. Like,
I know
yeah,
parents may not have time, but I would encourage them to and investigate as well. Sit with your child.
yeah.
And just start watching them navigate this and watch them make their decisions. Like if you have, you're there and you hear your child jump into a lobby and it's toxic and your child themselves are like, I gotta get up out of here. Maybe you might feel a little bit more comfortable to know that you have a child who's not interested in that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, so we know a little bit about you with your gaming and you work with you. So tell us, I know you mentioned before that you are doing a little bit of streaming, 12 a.m.
Hmm.
So with big games dominating the streaming world, right? Like you have your Fortnite, you have your COD, you have all these ones that they're these big streamers all the time. It's easy to feel like there's no room for anyone else.
Yeah,
So why do you stream and what keeps you going?
you know, you never know who's looking for what out there, and I think that's why I still get on. And even if I could just offer a different perspective um, on how to play a game, um, offer some insight or just the way I'm speaking about how I'm going through a certain match. Um, I never know. Somebody might just pop up and find enjoyment in a lobby with me, in the stream with me. Um, and then, I know there's a lot of beat games, but I have streamed my child playing um, Little Nightmares. And I just think, like, what if there's other parents who's around and say, I have a 9-year old who's trying to enjoy herself and play this game with her father present. Maybe there is something there where a parent was probably hesitant and find solace in that there's another parent doing it. Um, so I do it because I know not who is looking sometimes, and maybe I can be some kind of inspiration or a calm and peaceful place
I
for
like that.
somebody else.
I like that a lot. So, and with that perspective, right, you give us a little bit of what inspired you. Do you see yourself as competing, or do you have a fear of competing with other well-known creators or bigger creators?
I think it's a bit of both. Right now, I do not feel like I am competing with anyone because I am well aware of my limitation of my time frame.
Hmm.
Um, but I think there is also a fear, like when I do get the time, how it may be overshadowed by folks who already have, big followings.
Mhm.
There is that fear, but I won't shy away. Again, I don't know if somebody's looking for whatever I'm putting out. It's like thinking about art. Two people can look at the same piece and walk away with two different interpretations. And
Mhm.
I just feel like even if I'm streaming something in a big name game, that somebody may come to my lobby and may find my voice very, relaxing, or may find the way that I work with my team a different way than they seen other folks, or might like the way I engage in a chat. I don't know, but there is a fear that should I try to get competitive with streaming, that I may be boxed out because of so many well-established folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that respect, how do you measure success as a streamer? How you go about measuring success as a streamer?
It's different for everyone.
Mhm.
Some folks have a financial, a portion that they're looking for. Other folks look for a community. Um, a number of people who are in their streams every time they log on. Um, so I think a successful streamer is somebody who's meeting whatever the goal is that they set out
Mhm.
to achieve, and whether that's vids being watched, whether that's people in the lobby with them, whether that's folks subscribing. Um, it's different. So whatever your goal is as a streamer, that success for you is measured by whatever goal it is that you're trying to attain.
I like that. Are there any streamers right now that you are watching or using as models or anything like that?
For my Fortnite community, I got to shout out my girl Spark out here. Uh, I don't know how you do it. You got the vocals for me. You're very snazzy in a positive, healthy way. I think people can find a lot of entertainment watching yourself. Um, you got Grapple out here, who I think is very good with her chat, and
Mhm.
also another very snazzy, snappy one in a healthy way. My Destiny community, I got Rick Cactus out here. He's a big one. Boy Aztec Cross. He's very vocally. I find myself when I'm in my element, sounding very similar to him. Um, Card, I have a couple of folks who names I can't pull off the top of my head right now. But in every game, I come across certain folks who, once you watch them on YouTube, your algorithm is sometimes set, and so I usually try to stick with folks if I come across somebody I like.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely.
I don't know if you call it loyalty, but I just find it.
I mean,
They
that's
have
what you
something I like.
do, right? Like you find a community that you like, you find a streamer that you like, and you sort of stick with them. It's like, again, going
Hmm.
back to football, finding a football team that you
That's correct.
support. So it's
That's
support, it's loyalty, it's all that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to watch myself now.
Eh,
As I put out some video clips, that every time I put out something, I'm trying to see what's hitting, what's missing. Um,
that's crazy because I hate watching my own VODs. I hate looking back
Interesting.
at my VODs to find anything, which is why I don't have a lot of clips. Like if I don't get clips when I'm streaming,
Hmm.
that's it, bro. Can't.
Yeah,
Looking at my
I
VODs is a wrap.
I find it's the only way that I will grow. Um,
It
and
probably is.
in clips is my way of sometimes reaching. I feel like a community that I can't reach during my stream times.
Hmm. Oh, it
It's
definitely is.
and so if I'm not if people are not looking at, if they're not liking, not commenting, I'm looking back on that vid and saying, hey, what's different than another video that I did what people did like.
Hmm.
And so also watching myself now.
Yeah, that's a healthy way to look at it because I can't. I just I
Come on,
see
Spark,
three
just try it.
hours of the VOD and I'm like, this is not for me. I don't
Small
even want to
clips,
hear.
right? Remember small,
I know,
small
but you got
clips.
to watch the whole VOD to
That's
get these
true.
small
That's true.
clips.
That's
Three
true.
hours trying to figure out what will
With the
hit and
clip,
what won't.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
rough. It
I
really is
understand.
rough. I can't do it. So just flipping us back on top a little bit, do you think gaming needs to better bridge the gap between casual and competitive gamers? I know you hit a little bit on
Hmm.
the gaming companies sort of catering to those bigger streamers.
Yeah, I do feel like there needs to be some balance there. It needs to be retweaked. Streamers are going to do what they do no matter what. If they enjoy a game, they're always going to put out content about it.
Mhm.
Um, and so they'll be okay. And there's going to be people that's going to watch. Um, I do wish that I've seen developers kind of go back to, that I want people to enjoy my game, all walks of life. And while that may still be in certain philosophies, it's just that the way that the impact, the rollout is happening, the way some things are changed, after this, certain bits come out, just, just slowing some of that stuff down, thinking about the person who you may not hear,
Mhm.
um, seeing where the energy is at. There's a lot of game modes. Why aren't there people in other game modes? Maybe developers dropping vids themselves.
Mm.
There's some that do. I can't say that I see that happening all over the place. And really, talking about executing their missions while they, promoting certain lobbies or certain game modes at a time. I do think there is a window for developers to bridge the casual and the elite gamers right now. And I was just saying, maybe not be so rushed to worry about when there is a vid about something going wrong with your game. I feel like sometimes it's like the criticism, and that's what happened. Once you get one vid or one streamer, and somebody's like, "This is not working," then there's a whole line of things that's just not working. And I feel
Mhm.
like sometimes that pressure makes folks kind of like back off and say, "Listen, we need to fix this immediately."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you may have a whole community of folks who are enjoying it, but they don't have a voice in this, right? Because they're not streaming, because they're the person who just gets on
Yeah.
occasionally,
Occasionally. Casually.
casually.
Casually. Um, are there any other hobbies or anything that you're balancing along with gaming and parenting and
And
working?
yes, yeah. So I also draw. I have switched over to digital arts
Ooh.
when COVID started.
Mhm.
I was pencil and paper sketch artist um, coming out of my youth as well. I want to say I got serious about 13, 14 years of age. And then once COVID hit, I wanted to learn how to draw digitally. So I moved
Mhm.
over to Procreate on iPad Pro. And that's where I'm drawing. And so that's what also makes getting on a game very hard. Monday through Thursday, because that's when I slide in some of my art. I'm able to peacefully draw while putting
Yeah.
my kids to sleep. Um, and so, my visual in my head is like I feel like a person who is like working with my fingers, while drawing with my toes, while gaming with my elbows, um, every week, and it feels like it's all at the same time. But I draw anime. Um, I am an artist who draws what he sees. I also recreate certain things, like I take multiple images and just trying to make something new. Um, and I enjoy it. It is therapeutic. This is why I would not let it go. And I'm hoping in the next year or so to release a manga myself,
Oh.
a
Okay.
manga or something that's on Webtoon.
Let's go. Webtoon caught itself behind a paywall right now, and I'm just like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, never
Mm-hmm.
mind. I
I
used to
know.
watch a whole, but now like almost everything is behind a paywall.
I
And I
know.
get it, the artists gotta eat, but
Yeah.
mm,
But it's my therapy throughout the week,
very nice.
and gaming is my therapy on the weekend.
And then everything else around it.
Oh yes, chaos.
Chaos. So what advice would you give to parents who want to game but they feel as though they don't have the time?
Yeah, it's or maybe examining where you have free time at and how you're currently using that free time,
Hmm.
and just maybe injecting one of those free times with an hour, 30 minutes, um, whatever time you may have with a game. Um, you don't have to sit on for 4 hours at a time. Sometimes you got to get in where you can fit in. Um,
Absolutely.
and that might mean that 30-minute window. And if you find yourself with several 30-minute windows, if this is what you want to do, if it does you some joy, then I
Yeah.
say, please go for it. Um, The
So,
benefit is it may be your own therapy for yourself. Some of
yeah,
us grew up on
brain
these
break.
things, and we kind of let it go because we got responsibilities, and internally it's like ripping us apart because it's something we want to do, but we don't prioritize it.
Yeah. I think those 30-minute windows are kind of hard too, especially depending on what kind of games you want to play.
Oh
30
yes,
minutes on
that
some
ain't
games
enough.
is just five.
Yeah, that's getting in. That's checking in what's happening. That's getting your weekly rotations. That's picking up maybe a bounty.
That might be
That'd be
cleaning up your inventory.
cleaning
Like
your inventory.
it's
Oh my, don't get me started.
yeah, that's just your inventory time. Like and it's 30 minutes gone already.
Oh my god! For my Destiny game is we got something called the Vault, and they keep expanding it. But let me tell you right now, I'm maxed again. That
Hmm.
means I need to spend almost an hour deleting things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I used to feel with Division when I used to play the
Oh,
Division. I'm
Division!
like,
Love Division.
right, and I would get on, but by the time I get on, you have to craft what gear you need to craft. You need
Yes,
to, all these things, and I'm like,
yes.
it's been an hour and I haven't actually played anything yet. I'm getting my gear together,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got to run a campaign, and that's an hour.
And that's an hour. I
Eh,
know. Um, I'm thinking about one of the questions you asked me earlier. If I could just go back quick, fast.
yeah.
How to help the casual gamers out. Um, Match made activities. I have become to like them. You never know who you're gonna get. Um, but some activities are gated behind. You have to come in sometimes with a party already, um,
Mhm.
and so you know, opening up almost all activities if possible. I know there's some things you want folks to be partied up already about, but allowing more match made activities, I've come across have been very helpful. And you finding other folks who are kind of in your own situation, and maybe you come across that person who is shepherding others.
Yeah. That's really true because, for a lot of us, we're playing. If we have friends who don't have kids, if we have friends, you have the people who we're not on the same schedule.
We're
They
not.
not like us. Like they done played 16 hours and went to sleep, and we're getting on for our 1 hour a night.
They've done their shift.
They've done their shift. It's night shift now,
It's night shift.
and we can't come in with the people that we want to match make, but we have to find the randos, and that's
Yeah,
like.
no, it is. And maybe it might make it some things not so lofty. Some of our developers they want to keep the interest there, so they have like big campaigns or
Mhm.
um, quests with like 1,000 steps for that iconic weapon or that iconic gear. Maybe making other quests that's a little bit smaller that still give off some good goodies um, for those folks who can invest their
Have that,
time
yeah,
the same
that
way.
time investment is rough. And like that's what I think about certain games like Black Myth. Like I love the game. I will play the game, but there's this one mode, right? There's no
Yeah,
casual gaming mode. Like you have to spend 30 minutes to an hour trying to beat this boss.
that's it.
Right? Like
There's
there's
nothing
no
else.
just like Elden Ring, there's no easy there's no easy walkthrough game. I'm just here for the story. I love games that do that. That
Hmm.
ask you
Hmm.
you could choose the mode. Like you want more heavy on the story. Like those are
Hmm.
really super nice and cozy and stuff like that. And I know I don't have to spend 6 hours trying to get past the boss.
I don't know if you have noticed, but sometimes even selecting easy mode is no longer available for certain campaigns.
It's not.
Not
It's
not that
not.
I'm ever that. I just as I'm scrolling to the veteran or the hardened, or sometimes I go back to see if there's an office so easy, and I just say I feel sad for folks
Yeah.
who don't have the time,
Yeah.
and then they have to come across the Dante must die mode. We're gonna call it Black Wukong mode now. Like
Mhm.
it's just that crazy.
Yeah.
And then and another reason why I feel like I'm super casual is because I just feel like it comes natural to me. Not that I'm the best gamer out there, but that I just don't find some things that difficult. Like enough times to replay it or not, I'm going to master whatever I'm trying to get to. Um, and I
Meanwhile, I
just
have no hand-eye coordination and I'm just making it up as I go.
it is harder for some folks. Some people have to look at that controller. I think about that button where I'm
Right.
just like,
Every single time.
I'm able to hang on to it. I could jump in a lobby after having been on for a whole week and still be at the top. I'm like, yo, chill.
3 days off that thing and I forget where the entire layout is. I can't. How do I jump again? How do
I,
I?
I mean, it's no offense. I feel like you're hovering in the casual.
I'm hover casual novice. I'm like, how do I? I can't remember. I don't know if you're in one of my streams. I was trying to do something, and I kept pressing every button but what I needed
Oh yes,
to get where I was
I
going.
was
And I'm
there to
like, all
witness it.
right, well, this is.
And the one you had recently, where you kept trying to find something, you kept opening a map or something.
It was just like,
I was like, what is going on here?
it's been a week. I don't know what's happening,
It's been a
and that's
week.
just what it is.
It's
That's
been a
just what it
week.
is.
Oh,
Eventually, I'll get there.
make it there.
It is what it is. Oh my god, it is what it is. Okay, so before we wrap up, we're gonna do like a quick question and answer quiz question thing just to know you a little more, okay?
Sounds good.
So it's like a quick, are you really a casual gamer?
Hmm.
Or are you a elite gamer? Or somewhere in between. Okay?
There you go.
Quick questions. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, one. Do you play to win or just to relax? You already
If I'm in multiplayer, I'm playing to win. All right, I play to win. I'm not gonna hold you.
Okay.
I
Play to
play
win. That's leaning a little elite to me, but that's okay. How often do you rage quit?
almost never.
Oh, I like that because it's a lot of work to rage quit.
That's my
Do you
pride on the line.
do you schedule your gaming sessions or just pick up the controller whenever you feel like it?
um, I'm pretty scheduled. Um, yeah, it's hard just to pick up, even if I find some free time.
Okay,
Responsibilities come first.
they do. What's more important, graphics or story?
Story.
Story. I like story. Have you ever watched a gaming tutorial or joined a forum to improve your skills?
Watch a gaming tutorial. Yes. A forum. No.
Hey, somewhere in between. I think what took you was that play to win all the time or just relax. I'm just here for the
I
vibes. I'm
ain't got no time for
definitely
that.
casual. Just here for the vibes. Just here for the vibes. All right. So
I ain't got no time for
all
that.
right, thank you for joining us. It was a great conversation, okay?
Definitely.
It's it's always nice to talk to people and hear their perspectives on gaming, especially us folks of a certain generation,
Yeah.
because right now it feels like the game is all the games are dominated by the younger people, right? Everybody say
Yes.
video games is for young folk. It is a real battle against like people of a certain age playing video games and being childish, etc. And it's like it's always nice to hear and see people of our generation and with kids and with responsibilities and jobs and all these things that you know take part in this community and
Hmm.
this life. So thank you for having this conversation with me.
No, thank you for highlighting that we exist.
We do. Are there right now, anything you'd want to give advice on, shout out, anything like that? Any last words, any last thoughts?
Um, the only advice I would say is if you are considering streaming, you know, remember your goals. You have to commit, just like anything that you want to do in life. Um, and so, don't be scared of who's already established out there. If you have something to offer, people will see that. It may just be a matter of time. And to my parents out there, when your child is home playing the game, that means they're not in the streets. And that means that you have some wherewithal of what's going on in their vicinity. I would definitely say I take them being in my care over them being in somebody else's home or potentially in danger. Um, a healthy balance is necessary for everything in life. This is me speaking to every person. Of course, I would love to give as much time to gaming as I did when I was a college student.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was a college student, but as you get older, this is a part of growing. Is things shift a little bit, but remain true to that which you love. I won't give up gaming. I hope to be um, someone who is in their 60s, 50s, as long as my fingers is working, gaming. Um,
Absolutely.
I may not be at the tiers that I was before previously, which I understand. There was some days in my youth where you did not want to come across me. And now sometimes, depending on how tired I am, you might get away. Um, but, I just hope to keep this healthy balance. And I hope that you, whoever is watching this, balance is key, because life is going to be lifing no matter what's going on. Um, you're going to have something that you're going to have to take care of, whether it be yourself, whether it be someone else. And you shouldn't have to give up what you like to do and your responsibilities, as long as you are very thoughtful about how you spend your time.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Game Life Chronicles. Game Life Chronicles. I can't speak tonight, y'all. 9 p.m. Casual Gamer. Thanks for tuning in to Game Life Chronicles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll catch you next time. Game on.